My beloved child, there are moments when your heart suddenly tightens, as though you have just passed through an invisible current of cold air. You cannot see where it comes from, yet your soul trembles gently, like a string that has just been touched. Do not rush to assume that you are imagining things. That sensitivity is not fear, it is a sign that your spirit is awakening. When the atmosphere around you subtly shifts, when certain attitudes grow unusual, when seemingly small matters begin to carry an unnamed pressure, you are stepping into the intersection between light and darkness. I tell you this so that you may understand. Your unease is not without cause. You are approaching a new threshold that the spiritual realm cannot ignore. Long before you became aware of it, quiet movements were already taking place beyond your sight. This is not a conspiracy of flesh and blood, for as it is written, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Ephesians 6:12. As you draw near to the turning point I have appointed, opposing forces begin to stir. They do not wait until you are steady before they attack. They watch for you when you are weary. They do not confront you while you are fervent in prayer. They whisper when you are distracted. But you must know this, before they ever convened, I had already heard everything. Before they devised their plans, I had already seen through them. And before panic could rise within you, I had already set a circle of protection around you that natural eyes cannot perceive. There are nights when you wonder why the air feels heavy, why your heart is suddenly tested by conflicting thoughts. You may assume it is weakness. No, my child, when the light within you begins to intensify, darkness will attempt to extinguish it. When you are being prepared for spiritual elevation, resistance will not remain passive. Consider Daniel, who fasted and prayed. His prayer was heard from the first day. Yet the angel contended for 21 days before the message arrived. Do you see? Delay does not mean abandonment. It reveals that an unseen battle is unfolding because of the value of what I am about to entrust to you. I do not tell you these things to instill fear, but to awaken discernment. When you understand that the disturbances around you are not random, you will stop blaming yourself and stop doubting your calling. You will recognize that turbulence is often the sign of transition. When the sea is still, a vessel does not travel far. When the wind rises, the sails are finally filled. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. The light within you is not self-generated. I placed it there. And because it belongs to me, no secret counsel of darkness can extinguish it. You may have noticed that the recent trials have not struck at your strength, but at your fatigue. When your body is weary, your thoughts are more easily unsettled. When you are distracted, negative whispers slip in unnoticed. You must understand this strategy so that you are not ensnared by it. Just as the enemy looks for moments when you are off guard, I am teaching you to guard your heart. For above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. You do not need to react in panic. You only need to remain steady in the awareness that I am with you amid every unseen movement. Remember Elijah after his great victory on Mount Carmel. Fire fell from heaven, and he thought he had entered a season of triumph. Yet immediately afterward, a single threat sent fear through him and drove him into hiding. Do you see how the enemy often strikes right after a breakthrough? Not because you are weak, but because you are about to step into a new phase. When Elijah withdrew into the cave, I did not condemn him. I came in a gentle whisper and reminded him that he was not alone. I come to you in the same way. When you feel surrounded, I whisper that you are not abandoned in the battle. The unusual behaviors around you, relationships that suddenly grow confusing, doors that seemed open but then close, none of these are meant to stop you. They are refining your discernment. I am training you to distinguish between noise and guidance. When you learn that distinction, you will no longer react out of fleeting emotion. You will walk with inward steadiness, and that steadiness is precisely what unsettles darkness, because it recognizes that you are maturing beyond its influence. My beloved, do not interpret opposition as evidence of failure. See it instead as a sign that you are drawing near to what I have promised. When Joseph began to dream great dreams, jealousy rose against him. Yet the plot to cast him into the pit became the very pathway to the throne. What appeared to be a secret council against him became the launching ground for my purpose. You are in a similar season. The shaking around you is not an ending, it is a rearrangement, positioning you to step into a higher place within your soul. So when you sense that chill, do not tremble. Stand upright and say within your heart, I know my Father is here. Let my peace cover you like invisible armor. Pray not in panic, but in trust. For if the Lord is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. No strategy formed in darkness can surpass my sovereignty. No hidden discussion can catch me off guard. You are drawing near to a spiritual elevation, and that is why the unseen realm stirs. That is why you perceive unusual movements. But instead of shrinking back, allow it to strengthen your faith. Darkness only grows agitated when it senses that light is approaching. And that light is you, guided by me, protected by me, and prepared for something greater than you have yet imagined. Be still, my child. What is unfolding is not a sign that you are on the wrong path, but evidence that you are walking the right one. I am before you. I am behind you, and I am within you. When whispers attempt to sow doubt, remember that my voice is greater. When darkness convenes, I have already spoken the final word, and my word over your life is life itself, advancement, and glory that no force can steal. My beloved, let your heart grow calm like a lake after the wind has ceased. What I reveal to you is not meant to instill fear, but to help you walk with open eyes. Truth is not the enemy of peace. Ignorance is what unsettles the soul. As it is written, we are not unaware of his schemes. 2 Corinthians 2:11. When you recognize the battlefield, you are no longer the victim of surprise attacks. Knowing where you stand in the spiritual realm steadies you instead of shaking you. I do not give you every detail of what darkness plots, because you are not meant to carry that burden. But I want you to see the larger picture. Certain movements seek to slow your steps, not because you are fragile, but because you are moving precisely along the course I have marked out for you. You see, darkness does not waste its energy on souls that remain still. It only becomes agitated when someone carries within them a flame capable of illuminating territory it once controlled. When you are preparing to step into a new level of maturity, resistance often rises like a headwind. Do not mistake that wind for proof that you are off course. Often it confirms that you are nearing your destination. I have placed within you a calling greater than you have dared to imagine. And that is why disturbances appear without apparent cause. Yet they are not without cause. They are the reaction of darkness to increasing light. At times, you may notice yourself being drawn back toward old habits, toward reactions that once caused you to stumble. Former memories suddenly resurface. Familiar emotions attempt to guide you back to well-worn paths. You may think you are regressing. No, my child, this is the final attempt of darkness to pull you back to ground it once occupied. It blends truth with half-truth, whispering confusion into your thoughts. It uses misunderstandings between you and others to weigh down your heart. It seeks to exhaust you through endless, circular conversations. But remember, I have given you a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. 2 Timothy 1:7. You are not required to be swept away by the tide of chaos. Have you noticed that before I open a significant door, the atmosphere around you often shifts before each turning point? Invisible pressures seem to press upon your shoulders. This is a principle of the spiritual realm. When light intensifies, darkness gathers. Recall Nehemiah as he rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. When the work began to take shape, the enemy did not remain idle. They quietly conspired to disrupt it and discourage the people. Yet instead of panicking, he stationed watchmen and continued building. That steadiness rendered their schemes ineffective. You are the same. You do not need to answer every noise. You only need to continue constructing what I have entrusted to you. Consider also Daniel, whose integrity stirred jealousy among the officials. Unable to find fault in him, they fabricated accusations to destroy him. The opposition did not arise from Daniel's weakness, but from his faithfulness. When you remain loyal to the light I have placed within you, there may be attempts to distort your image, but such efforts do not alter the destiny I have written. Just as I preserved Daniel in the lion's den, I preserve you amid baseless accusations. I want you to understand this clearly. The vague assaults that leave you weary are not signs of decline. They are signals that you are approaching spiritual elevation. Darkness senses what you do not yet fully see, and that is why it grows unsettled. It recognizes that the assignment you are about to enter will expand the reach of light. It knows that your maturity will become a source of hope for others. It knows that if you pass through this stage, you will no longer be easily shaken, and so it attempts to sow doubt before you ascend the next step. But see everything through the lens of faith. When disruption arises, do not immediately conclude that everything is collapsing. Ask me instead, Father, what are you preparing for me? Many times, the shaking is simply the process of rearranging the foundation so that I may build higher. Without impact, you would not recognize what needs strengthening. Without testing, you would not perceive the endurance I have been cultivating within you all along. My child, I do not desire for you to live in strained alertness, but in peaceful awareness. There is a difference between anxiety and discernment. Anxiety accelerates your heartbeat, discernment steadies your soul. When you understand your battlefield, you are no longer frightened by every sound. You know that I am directing a conflict greater than what your eyes can see. The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. That question is not the voice of arrogance, but the confession of faith. Let every disturbance remind you that you are walking the right path. When misunderstanding arises, you learn to guard your integrity. When falsehood blends with fragments of truth, you learn to seek my voice more clearly. When old emotions attempt to resurface, you learn to walk in your renewed identity. Each time you choose light over darkness, you draw closer to the position I have appointed for you. So do not panic when darkness gathers. Smile within your spirit and know that I have already gone before you. What you are experiencing is not a sign of failure, but evidence of elevation. You are not targeted because you lack value. You are opposed because you carry more value than they anticipated. And I, who have called you, will not allow any scheme to divert what I have ordained. Continue to walk. Continue to build. Continue to trust. In every disturbance, I am still writing your story of glory. My beloved, let your heart grow quiet as I say this. I do not reveal the movements of darkness so that you become consumed with them, but so that you may walk in mature awareness. When you understand what is unfolding, you are no longer carried away by invisible currents. I want you to clearly see 3 arrows being aimed at your soul, not so that you fear, but so that you may know how to stand firm. First, it attempts to slip quietly into your inner world through self-doubt. Not loudly, not violently, but through small, Sharp-edged questions that cut like a thin blade. Perhaps I am mistaken. Perhaps I am not capable. Perhaps it was all imagination. Do you see? It does not need to make you collapse at once. It only needs to make you waver. But I remind you, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. When such thoughts arise, do not argue with them in panic. Bring them into the light of my word. If a thought causes you to shrink the identity I have placed within you, it does not come from me. Second, it seeks to reopen doors you have already closed. Connections you believed were finished suddenly reappear. Voices that once wounded you return, cloaked in friendliness. You may wonder, why now? It is because when you are about to step into a new level of maturity, it tries to pull you back to the place where wounds once defined you. But you are no longer a person of the past. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Do not confuse reappearance with destiny. Often it is merely a test to confirm that you are truly free. Third, it distracts you, not through obvious evil, but through secondary matters, unnecessary arguments, and busyness that exhausts you without bringing you closer to your purpose. You may think you are accomplishing much, yet your soul feels depleted. Remember the story of Martha and Mary. One was anxious with many tasks. The other sat at the Lord's feet. When you are about to be entrusted with greater things, distraction becomes the most subtle strategy to delay your progress. I have not called you to dissipate your strength on the peripheral. I have called you to remain anchored in what is essential. All of this is not happening because you are weak. You are being targeted because you are becoming a threat to darkness. It does not assemble schemes against those who remain asleep. It stirs because someone is about to awaken fully. You must interpret everything through this light. Opposition does not prove failure, it confirms advancement. When the light within you increases, darkness convenes. Yet its gathering is merely reaction. My design is destiny. Now look at my intervention. I do not merely shield you, I vindicate you. Vindication is more than proving you right in an argument. It is my act of preserving your spiritual honor before you even attempt to defend yourself. As Psalm 23:5 declares, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This means you do not need to answer every distortion or rebut every accusation. I will position you where my presence upon your life speaks for itself. My vindication does not arrive in haste, it arrives in precision, and that appointed time is nearer than you think. Hear this clearly. You are not only being healed, you are being summoned. The years you thought were merely recovery were in fact seasons of hidden training. I concealed you not because you lacked value, but because you needed refinement and quietness. Remember David. When Samuel came to anoint a king, no one considered the shepherd boy in the field. Yet it was in that wilderness that I taught him to confront lions and bears before he ever faced Goliath. Your hidden season was not neglect, it was preparation. Consider also Gideon, trembling in a winepress, yet addressed by the angel as mighty warrior, Judges 6:12. Do you see? I call you according to what I see within you, not according to your present circumstance. You may feel as though you have merely been surviving betrayal, misunderstanding within your family, wounds not yet fully closed. But I see a warrior forged through trial. I allowed shadow to cover you for a time so that you would not be revealed prematurely. Now, when I bring you into the light, it is not for display, but for placement. You are not called to retaliate against those who have wounded you. You are called to function in spiritual discipline. That discipline guards your heart from bitterness and keeps your steps from straying. When I elevate you, it is not so you can prove anything to others, It is so you may carry out the destiny written for you long before you understood it. The righteous will flourish like the palm tree, Psalm 92:12, not flourishing for spectacle, but standing firm and bearing fruit in its proper season. Therefore, my beloved child, do not interpret the movements of darkness as a prophecy of harm. See them instead as a bell announcing that you are entering a new season. Self-doubt will not define you. Former connections will not pull you backward. Distraction will not steal your focus. I am setting a table before you that your adversaries will be forced to witness, and when the appointed moment arrives, you will see that everything once intended to diminish you has become the platform for your elevation. Stand firm in the identity I have given you. You are not merely a survivor. You are one who has been summoned. When I speak, the hour, you will step forward not with noise, not with pride, but with authority. For you do not walk under the shadow of any other power, you walk under mine. My beloved, hear my voice like a trumpet sounding through the mist of early dawn. This is not the time for your soul to drift into sleep. It is an hour of deep awakening. When you sense unseen movements around you, do not panic, but do not grow indifferent either. Yes, there are councils formed in darkness, but you must know that above every clouded realm, heaven is also at work. If strategies of opposition are being drafted, then your destiny is being fortified. If there are plots meant to cause you to stumble, my hand is already lifting you from every pit. You are standing at the threshold between what was and what is to come, and the trembling you feel is not the signal of defeat, but the sound of a door opening. Let your heart grow still within my majesty. I do not expose darkness to make you afraid, but to assure you that light surrounds you. When I reveal what was hidden, it is to secure you in the justice of heaven. You have not been placed on a battlefield without armor. I have clothed you with peace, and that peace does not depend on circumstance. As it is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. When you understand who stands with you, you will no longer tremble at the noise of invisible schemes. You may feel at times as though you are being placed on trial by rumors or by unspoken suspicions. But remember this, the final verdict does not belong to the accuser. The ultimate court is not held in the hands of those who seek to distort the truth. I am the one who is righteous in all his ways. Psalm 145:17. You do not need to defend yourself in anger. You do not need to chase every whisper to prove your innocence. I see every detail. I weigh every motive. I reorder all things according to my standard of justice. When I speak, no one can overturn it. Look at the story of Esther. When Haman's scheme was crafted in secret, the people believed they were standing before an unavoidable sentence. Yet at the very moment, darkness thought it had secured the upper hand. I overturned the board. The decree written for destruction became the pathway to deliverance. Do you see? When the enemy convenes, I am already preparing the reversal. You are not fighting alone in a hidden chamber. I have entered before you. There will be moments when you want to settle matters yourself, to clarify, to defend, to withstand in your own strength. But I tell you, remain under my covering, like a young bird hidden beneath its mother's wings. Your soul will find refuge there. When you choose silence at the right time, it is not weakness, it is faith. When you refuse fruitless arguments, it is not surrender, it is confidence that I will bring clarity. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. That word was not spoken only to Israel at the Red Sea. It is spoken to you today amid unseen waves. You are stepping into a new season. This season will not merely alter your circumstances, it will transform the way you stand within them. I am not only drawing you out of danger, I am shaping you to become strong in the midst of it. What once intimidated you will now become the foundation of your courage. What once unsettled you will become the lesson that sharpens your wisdom. When darkness attempts to confuse you, I lift your eyes beyond the present moment. When it tries to slow your steps, I plant within you a perseverance you have never known before. Do not assume that because schemes are formed against you, your destiny is in jeopardy. Your destiny is written by me, not by secret gatherings in the shadows. As Joseph said to his brothers, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50-20. What is intended for harm cannot cancel what I intend for redemption. Every plot becomes material in my hands, woven into a tapestry of glory over your life. Therefore, my beloved, do not allow your mind to spin with every disturbance. Anchor your soul in this truth. I am the one who holds the scales. I am the one who determines the timing. I am the one who opens and closes doors. No verdict is issued beyond my permission. No accusation can stand when I declare righteousness. When you are in me, you stand in the safest place in existence. Now, instead of scanning your surroundings for signs of threat, lift your eyes upward for confirmation. You were not called to live in defense, but in steadiness. Darkness may convene, but it does not possess authority to decide. It may whisper, but it cannot pronounce judgment. You do not need to outrun unseen voices. Simply remain in my light, and that light will expose every falsehood on its own. Continue forward, my child, with the peace of one who knows they are protected. Allow me to fulfill what I have promised. When the appointed time arrives, you will see that my justice is not loud, yet it is powerful. And when the disturbance has passed, you will stand on the other side not merely safe, but more mature, stronger, and more firmly established in the destiny I have prepared for you. My beloved child, there are moments when you look upward and sigh. Why does it seem as though everything has turned against me at once? I hear that question not only with my ears, but with an understanding of every fracture within your soul. And I answer you not with thunder, but with the gentle voice of the one who has never taken his eyes off your life. Not everything is opposing you. Everything is being turned over by my hand, so that light may penetrate the corners you once avoided. You think you are surrounded. In truth, you are being drawn out of the gray place where you once lived, half in shadow and half in light. You once feared that if truth were exposed, it would wound you more deeply. But my child, truth does not come to destroy you. It comes to untie the invisible cords that have restricted your steps. When I remove the webs from your inner world, you may feel a temporary emptiness. Yet, in that space, you begin to breathe more freely. I do not uncover to condemn, I uncover to liberate. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. That is not a slogan. It is the path I am leading you through. You thought you were abandoned when unjust words were spoken. You assumed I was silent when hidden motives went unexposed. But not a single word escapes my weighing. Not a single intention is concealed from my sight. I see even what you cannot see within yourself. When I allow truth to surface, it is so that you no longer build your life on illusions about others or about yourself. I am refining the foundation beneath your feet so that when the new season opens, you will not carry the fog of the past into it. Remember Joseph, when his own brothers sold him, every visible sign suggested he had been removed from promise. When he was falsely accused and cast into prison, heaven seemed silent. Yet step by step, I was arranging a pathway no one could foresee. Without betrayal, he would not have left familiarity. Without imprisonment, he would not have encountered the one who would later speak his name before Pharaoh. Without the season of being forgotten, He would not have appeared at the precise hour to interpret a dream. Do you see? What others labeled failure was the tunnel I used to lead him to authority. As he himself declared, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50:20. I recount this so that you understand. Betrayal is not the end. It is a transition. When you are pushed from what once felt secure, I may be guiding you into new territory. When a door closes painfully, it may be because I am preparing a wider one. You see only the middle chapter. I see the entire journey. And I never allow a single tear of yours to be wasted. There are things I permit to unfold not because I approve of injustice, but because my strategy is greater than the arrangements of darkness. Darkness may assemble its formations, but I am the one who draws the map. It may imagine it controls the sequence of events, but it does not control the outcome. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. Psalm 33:10. When it appears that everything is aligning against you, it may be that I am simultaneously restructuring your circumstances. My child, do not be afraid when everything seems to be overturned at once. This is not collapse, it is purification. I am pulling you out of a false security to place you upon a true foundation. You once grew accustomed to half-truths, to undefined relationships, to small compromises you labeled as peace. But I desire for you to walk in complete freedom. And that freedom does not come from avoiding truth. It comes from facing it under my light. You think you are losing when familiar things are removed. Yet often I am cutting away so that you will no longer be entangled. Just as a gardener prunes branches so that a tree may bear more fruit, I trim away what slows your growth. You may feel exposed in that season, but it is precisely then that new life begins to flow more powerfully. Trust me in this process. When truth surfaces, do not panic. Ask me, "Father, what are you freeing me from?" When harmful motives are uncovered, do not focus solely on the pain. Look at the protection. You are not abandoned in a storm. You are being led through a tunnel, and at the end of that tunnel is not darkness, but new territory I have prepared. I do not promise that revelation will be painless, but I promise that the pain will not destroy you, it will heal you. It will make you clearer, stronger, freer, and when you look back, you will no longer ask, "Why did everything turn against me at once?" You will say, "My Father overturned everything to bring me out of confusion." What seemed like betrayal will reveal itself as transition. What felt like loss will prove to be direction. Stand firm, my beloved. Darkness may arrange its strategies, but I hold a plan beyond every scheme. Not one step you take escapes my sight. Not one event falls outside my sovereignty. And when I complete what I am doing, you will realize that you were never surrounded by opposition. You were being guided from every side toward the place I appointed. My beloved child, look again at David's story with eyes no longer naive, but sharpened by discernment. He was not pursued by strangers. He was hunted by the very one who had once anointed him. Saul, who should have been his covering, became the shadow behind him. Have you thought your pain was unique? That only you have suffered wounds from those who were meant to support you? No. My child, you are stepping into a lineage of chosen souls, those who have tasted the sharp cut from the very place they expected protection. David was not shaped in a palace. No throne taught him patience. It was the cold nights in caves, the pounding of his heart at the sound of pursuing footsteps, the sting of misunderstanding and betrayal that forged him into a king. Had power been placed in his hands too soon, he might have lifted a sword in anger. So I kept him in the shadows for a season, that he might learn restraint when he had the chance to strike Saul down and yet chose not to. In what you perceive as injustice, I am teaching you discipline. In the place where you feel hunted, I am forming you into one who will not be corrupted by authority. Do you see? It was not the throne that refined David, it was the pursuit. And when I finally established him in the position appointed for him, no one could remove him. Because the foundation beneath him was not emotion, but maturity formed through pain. I am doing the same within you. I have not abandoned you amid tremors from family, from those once called spiritual fathers or trusted supports. I am transforming the very place that wounded you most into the furnace that strengthens you most. Do not diminish your pain because others label it small. I have never asked you to pretend your wounds do not exist. I have seen every tightening of your heart at unjust words. I have heard every sigh when you questioned why love sometimes arrives with hurt. And I stand with you, not so you may cultivate bitterness, but so you may be freed from the darkness that once operated through those very people. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34:18. I am not distant when you ache, I am nearest in that very moment. But hear me clearly, standing with you does not mean nurturing vengeance within you. The justice of heaven is not a blade for you to wield against others. My justice is the hand that restores everything to its rightful place. There were words spoken in ignorance. There were actions that slowed your steps. Yet I do not permit those things to define your identity. Your position was never meant to be beneath another's foot. Never a place where you must ask permission to exist. You were created to stand. Remember this. When Saul hurled his spear to pin David to the wall, it could not pierce the destiny I had placed upon him. Spears may be thrown, but they do not determine fate. So it is with you. Words aimed at you, judging glances, unfair comparisons, they may brush against your emotions, but they hold no authority to rewrite who you are. It is the Lord who judges me, 1 Corinthians 4:4. When I am the judge, all other verdicts are temporary. My child, allow my justice to flow into the corners of your heart you have kept locked away. Do not hide them in shadow for fear that opening them will make you weak. It is when you open them before me that I heal at the root. Wounds within family are not trivial in my sight. I do not dismiss them, but neither will I allow them to become chains that bind you indefinitely. I desire to free you from the darkness that once moved through others, so that you will not carry that shadow into the generations that follow. Perhaps you have grown accustomed to shrinking back in order to avoid further hurt, but I have not called you to live folded inward. I have called you to stand not in pride, but in identity, to stand not to prove anything, but to exist fully as the one I created you to be. You were not born to live beneath the shadow of jealousy or control. You were born to walk beneath my covering. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. That table is not merely material blessing, it is the restoration of honor. When I lift you up, it is not for display, but so that the spiritual realm knows you belong to me. And when I position you where you are meant to stand, no one can bring you down, because I myself am the foundation beneath your feet. Do not let wounds from those close to you cause you to question your worth. Do not allow another's jealousy to make you shrink your calling. I am turning the place where you were once pursued into the ground where you are trained. I am transforming caves into classrooms of kingship, and when my season arrives, you will emerge not as a victim of the past, but as one refined by it. Remember this. No one has the authority to define who you are, except me. I called you. I named you. I anointed you. And when I speak, my word stands. Stand in my name. Stand in my justice. And let every other voice recede. You are no longer beneath the shadow of those who wounded you. You are beneath the shadow of the one who called you. And there, you are not only protected, you are positioned for your destiny. My beloved child, let this word rest upon your soul like a new garment placed upon your shoulders. You are not abandoned amid unseen movements. You are surrounded by my hidden protection. When I allow light to enter dark corners, it is not because darkness holds uncontested power, but because I intend for it to lose its influence. Light does not reveal to boast, it reveals to dismantle. When truth surfaces, it is not to drag you back into old pain, but to free you from half-formed narratives that once bound your steps. You may sense spiritual disturbances like wind pressing against a closed door. Do not hastily call it danger. Often it is a sign that I am drawing nearer. When I move, the atmosphere shifts. When I touch your life, what is hidden cannot remain concealed. You do not need to withstand every wave alone. You are not the only watchman on the wall. I stand between every unseen scheme and its execution, intercepting intentions before they take shape. You see only part of the battlefield. I see the entire map, and my justice never fails to protect what belongs to me. Remember this, I do not reveal in order to weaken you. I reveal so that you may be secure in the light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. When I allow you to see truth, I am dismantling the invisible strings that once caused you to react from old instincts. I do not want you living from vague assumptions. I want you walking with clear awareness that I am governing even the deepest layers you cannot perceive. Now, allow me to do what I have always done perfectly, to heal your soul. I do not heal through spectacle or dramatic display. I heal through the quiet yet sovereign presence of the one who formed you from dust and breathed life into you. I touch the place once pierced by unloving words. I support the region that collapsed under disappointment. I restore the fragments you believed were lost forever. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. This is not a distant promise. It is the work I am doing within you even now. You do not need to appear strong before me. I do not require you to be unshaken at all times. I do not ask you to strain through everything as though you never grow tired. Weakness placed in my hands becomes the very place where my strength is revealed. You may come to me incomplete, and I will not turn away. I do not heal by denying your pain. I heal by entering into it and laying my hand upon it. There are wounds you have hidden so deeply that even you have nearly forgotten them. But I have not forgotten. I know the places in your heart that close to protect themselves. I know the memories that cause you to shrink inward, though no one else sees. I do not force them open with harshness. I wait until you are ready. And then I gently place light within. And when I do, no wound will speak louder than the destiny I have written over you. My child, do not be afraid of my healing. Healing does not weaken you, it releases the energy that has long been trapped in pain. When wounds no longer govern your responses, you walk lighter, faster, and with greater clarity. I do not only shield you from darkness outside of you, I also free you from the shadows that once lingered within. And when I complete that work, you will no longer live as one merely trying to survive, but as one positioned for destiny. Allow my presence to cover you even now. Let your breathing slow and recognize that I am here, not distant, not abstract, but nearer than your own heartbeat. You are not alone in this process. You are not overcoming by yourself. I stand within every movement, protecting, correcting, and restoring. When I heal, I do more than mend, I recreate. I do not simply erase scars, I transform them into testimonies of grace. You will look back and see that the place which once made you tremble has become the ground where you now stand firm. What once stirred doubt will become the source of conviction. When my hand rests upon your soul, nothing can steal the destiny I have entrusted to you. Rest in this truth. You are being protected. You are being healed. And you are being prepared as I clothe you with the garment of righteousness and peace. Darkness no longer has authority to define your story. That story belongs to me. and I am writing it with the gentle authority of the one who has loved you from the beginning. My beloved, stand upright within your spirit. This is no longer a season where I merely cradle you in comfort. This is a season where I place my hand upon your shoulder and teach you to stand firm. Everything I have exposed, every justice I have established, every wound I have touched and healed, none of it ends with recovery. It is preparation. I am shaping within you a role greater than survival, the role of a hidden warrior. You do not become a warrior because you crave conflict. You are not trained because you are aggressive. You are trained because your destiny requires strength. The light I placed within you must be guarded. And guarding is not done through shouting, but through steadiness. A true warrior does not need to prove their power. They need only to know to whom they belong. You are called not to display authority, but to hear the command from heaven and move with precision. As it is written, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you." Joshua 1:9. That courage does not arise from natural temperament, but from my presence within you. So I say to you today, stop operating as one merely trying to survive. A survivor reacts out of fear. A warrior acts from discipline. A survivor seeks hiding. A warrior holds position upon the rock. Let your inner feet anchor themselves upon the foundation I have set. The Lord is my rock and my fortress. Psalm 18:2. When you stand upon that rock, you no longer tremble at surrounding noise. Let your mind be drawn like a bowstring, not in chaotic tension, but in focused readiness. And keep your heart soft, for my warriors do not grow so hardened that they lose compassion. First, you must understand this essential truth. A true warrior does not fight with emotion. They fight with discipline. Emotion may ignite a moment, but it cannot sustain a journey. I am leading you into a season of spiritual discipline, not the discipline of pressure or self-punishment, but the discipline of refinement. Just as a blade is sharpened through friction, your soul is made keen through steady training. Instruct the wise, and they will be wiser still. Proverbs 9:9. You do not grow through dramatic peaks alone, but through faithfulness in the small, consistent acts of each day. You need discipline in your thoughts. Not every idea that passes through your mind deserves to remain. If you allow your thinking to drift with the emotions of others, you will grow weary without understanding why. Take hold of thoughts that do not come from me and bring them into alignment. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. The first fortress a warrior guards is the mind. You also need discipline in your speech. Your words are not merely sound, they are gateways. A single careless sentence can open access to what does not belong to me. Let your words be weighed, measured in the light of wisdom. As it is written, the tongue has the power of life and death. Proverbs 18:21. You are not called to speak much. You are called to speak rightly. Then there is discipline in your time. You cannot step into the role of a warrior if your energy leaks away through fruitless conversations and purposeless busyness. I want you to discern between what is essential and what is secondary. When you learn to say no to what is unnecessary, you are protecting what I have entrusted to you. A warrior does not chase every noise. They focus on the command. Above all, discipline and worship. The flame within you does not burn indefinitely without tending. I do not invite you merely to feel strong in an emotional surge. I am forming strength into your nature. When you spend time with me consistently, when you remain in my presence, not because of emotion, but because of commitment, you are building foundation. Abide in me, and I in you. John 15:4. True strength flows from continual connection, not from fleeting feelings. My child, on the spiritual battlefield, emotion is like the wind. It can shift direction without warning. But discipline is the rock. When you stand upon that rock, the wind may blow. yet you will not fall. I am not training you to become rigid. I am training you to become steady. I do not desire for you to grow cold. I desire for you to become clear. And when you are clear, you are no longer pulled in every direction by each passing disturbance. Receive this as confirmation. You are being elevated into a new level of maturity. I no longer soothe you so that you remain lying down, for you are now mature enough to stand. I no longer comfort you merely to ease your feelings, for you are called to function in authority. My warriors do not seek conflict, but when conflict arrives, they do not retreat. So rise, my child. Do not see yourself as the one who once faltered. See yourself as the one being refined. I am with you in every small act of discipline. I am with you each time you restrain a hasty reaction. And as you begin to operate not as a survivor but as a trained warrior, you will discover that the light within you is not only protected, it will become a pathway for others to follow. My beloved, allow your spiritual imagination to open and perceive what I am forming within you. Not a loud warrior eager to display strength, but one who is quiet, sharp, and precise. Not one who brandishes a sword in the public square seeking attention, but one who knows how to stand still in silence until the command is given. Some souls overcome by shouting. You will overcome through unwavering peace. I am not training you to impress. I am training you to execute the will of heaven. You are like an arrow placed in the hand of an archer. When the bow is drawn backward, the arrow does not understand why it is being pulled away from its destination. You have felt that pull, as though progress slowed just as you were ready to advance. But an arrow is not rejected when it is drawn back. It is being aligned. The bow does not pull to wound the arrow. It pulls to generate force. When I hold you in that backward tension, I am storing momentum within you. When I keep you in shadow, I am adjusting your aim. And when I release you, you will fly farther, faster, and more accurately than you ever imagined. As it is written, He made me a polished arrow and concealed me in His quiver. Isaiah 49:2. You are not forgotten in the quiver. You are being preserved for the precise moment. It is precisely because darkness senses the pull of heaven upon your life that it reacts so fiercely. It does not resist an arrow that falls harmlessly to the ground. It fears the arrow aimed directly at its mark. But you must understand this. The tension you feel is not failure. It is preparation. If I do not draw you back deeply enough, you will not travel far enough. If I do not conceal you long enough, you will not strike with precision. Do not confuse delay with rejection. What you are experiencing is calibration. My warriors do not avoid battle, but neither do they rush into every conflict. Not every word deserves your reaction. Not every glance requires your response. Not every attack warrants the lifting of your shield. Some things are merely noise, and a wise warrior learns to distinguish between noise and calling. Better a patient person than a warrior. One with self-control than one who takes a city. Proverbs 16:32. True strength is not found in quick reaction, but in timely restraint. I will teach you to discern the atmosphere. Some things come from me, carrying peace, even when the message challenges you. Some things arise from the emotions of others, heated, chaotic, yet lacking eternal weight. And some originate in darkness, stirring distraction and draining your strength without purpose. When you learn to distinguish these three sources, you will no longer be carried away by every small wave. Discernment will become your sword, not to wound others, but to cut falsehood away from your own thinking. Remember that I equip you, not with noise, but with nature. Your peace will become your invisible shield. When others panic, you will remain steady. When others react, you will reflect. When others rush, you will wait for instruction. As it is written, The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4-7. Peace is not escape from battle, it is stability within it. Your steadiness will become your readiness, like shoes prepared not for retreat, but for precise advance. Having shod your feet with the readiness of the gospel of peace. Ephesians 6:15. When you wear those shoes, you no longer move out of agitation. You move out of direction. Each step is not taken because you were pushed, but because you were led. My warriors do not need public recognition to know they are strong. They do not need to shout to be heard. They understand that true strength lies in self-mastery. I am not training you to react by instinct. I am training you to respond by command. When you learn to stand still at the right moment, you are winning an unseen battle far greater than any visible confrontation. Trust the drawing back. When I restrain you, I am not blocking you. I am building momentum. When I adjust your angle, I am not delaying you. I am ensuring your trajectory does not miss the mark. And when the appointed time arrives, there will be no need for drums or trumpets. You will be released, not loudly, but accurately, not dramatically, but with authority. So guard your heart in peace. Let your discernment grow sharper day by day. Learn not to react to every sound, and believe that the tension you feel is not loss, but preparation. I am shaping a warrior who knows how to listen, how to wait, and how to release at the right moment. And when you are sent forth according to my will, no darkness will be able to obstruct your flight. Engrave this deeply within your soul. My warriors do not only know how to tear down, they know how to build. I have not called you merely to repel darkness, I have called you to establish light. If you focus only on resisting, you will grow weary. But when you understand that you are empowered to construct, you will walk with a purpose greater than conflict. As it is written, I have appointed you to uproot and tear down, to build and to plant. Jeremiah 1:10. True authority is not found in destruction, but in the capacity to create what did not exist before. You will rebuild courage where doubt once eroded confidence. You will restore the walls of honor that unjust words once cracked. You will reestablish an atmosphere of peace within the home I entrusted to you, not through control, but through steady presence. Each time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you lay a brick. Each time you speak encouragement instead of criticism, you spread mortar. Each time you remain peaceful amid chaos, you raise a wall that darkness cannot penetrate. Remember Nehemiah. When the walls of Jerusalem lay in ruins, he did not merely mourn the past, he rose and rebuilt. Though some mocked and others conspired to sabotage the work, he held a sword in one hand and a trowel in the other. So it is with you. I have not only placed the sword of discernment in your hand, I have placed tools for construction there as well. You are not trained merely to fight, you are entrusted to restore. And every time you raise what I assign to you, you breathe my life into places darkness once believed it possessed. Your role is greater than you assume. Your assignment runs deeper than you imagine. The authority you carry is weightier than you recognize. You are not only repairing your own life, you are clearing a path for those who will come after you. When you rebuild courage, you teach others that fear does not have the final word. When you restore honor, you declare to the spiritual realm that truth cannot be buried forever. When you reestablish peace, you are founding new territory for the next generation. Therefore, do not see yourself as someone who merely survived pain. You are one commissioned to rebuild. You are not defined by what collapsed, but by what I am raising through you. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, Psalm 1-3, not only standing firm, but bearing fruit. You were not called simply to exist, you were called to flourish. Now I place my spiritual hand upon your head as a mark of this day, not a mark of sorrow, but of commissioning. You are no longer the wounded one trying to breathe through chaos. You are no longer the trembling inner child haunted by betrayal. You are no longer the one unaware of closed-door schemes against you. Those chapters have closed. I led you through them to refine you, not to confine you. You are no longer a victim of family narrative, unstable emotion, or the darkness that once overshadowed you. You are a warrior chosen by heaven. You are an arrow drawn taut in my hand. You are a torch hidden in a clay jar so the flame would not be extinguished before its appointed hour. As Gideon concealed the torch within the jar until the moment it was broken and the light burst forth, so you have been kept hidden until the precise time. And I say to you, that moment is no longer distant. You do not need another sign to believe you are called. You do not require further human affirmation to stand. Your time is now, not because everything is perfect, but because you are prepared, not because darkness has vanished, but because the light within you has grown strong enough. Walk as one entrusted. Build as one who understands that you carry my breath within you. Hold the sword of discernment in one hand and the tools of construction in the other. And as you raise what I have assigned, you will discover that every brick you lay does not only reshape your life, but shifts the atmosphere around you. You are no longer pulled backward by your past. You are no longer defined by your wounds. You stand in the present with renewed authority. I have anointed you not to retreat, but to establish, not to lament, but to build, not merely to survive, but to execute destiny. Stand upright, my warrior. The arrow has been drawn, the torch is ready, and the appointed time is now. Step into discipline not as one burdened, but as one ascending to a higher level. Discipline is not a chain around your feet. It is the pathway lifting you into new position. When you choose order in your thoughts, your speech, and your actions, you are not confined, you are expanded. Let the wise listen and add to their learning. Proverbs 1-5. Every disciplined step is a promotion. Every act of self-control is an impartation of greater authority. Stand within the justice I have established for you. Do not stand in anxious defense, but in settled conviction. I have weighed what you could not weigh. I have heard what you could not hear. I have seen what you could not see. God is a righteous judge. Psalm 7:11. When I have spoken, no accusation can take root. My justice is not loud, but it is firm. It does not argue, it endures. Operate as one who knows they are covered, not covered to hide, but covered to remain secure. When you know you dwell beneath my shadow, you no longer strain to prove yourself before others. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. That shadow is not darkness, it is protection. When you walk in that awareness, you are neither inflated by praise nor diminished by criticism, and move forward as a warrior who no longer looks back. The past has fulfilled its role in shaping you. You do not need to return to explain every event. You do not need to repair other people's memories in order to possess peace. I have handled what needed to be handled. I have closed the doors that had to be shut. I have vindicated the deepest parts of you that no one but I truly understood. From this moment on, you are not merely healed, you are commissioned. Receive this as the final warmth resting upon the shoulders of a warrior newly crowned. Your position has changed. You no longer stand on the battlefield of pain trying to survive. You step onto the field of assignment to execute. What once gathered to conspire against you no longer has authority to steer your future. I have judged. I have silenced the accuser. Who will bring any charge against those whom God has chosen? It is God who justifies. Romans 8:33. When I justify, every other voice becomes only a distant echo. You do not need to return to prove that you were right. You do not need to persuade anyone that you have changed. True transformation does not require advertisement. It is recognized through steadiness. Your new shield is not self-defense, but the righteousness I have placed upon you. When you walk with that shield, arrows of doubt and memory no longer pierce. From this moment, I move you from reaction to execution, no longer living to brace against every wave, but to steer the vessel, no longer merely avoiding darkness, but intentionally igniting light wherever I send you. Assignment is not meant to exhaust you, it is meant to clarify you. When you know you are commissioned, you are no longer scattered among competing voices. Let your soul enter into stillness, not the stillness of retreat, but the stillness of authority. Like David after he was anointed, he did not immediately sit upon the throne. He returned to the fields, but with a new identity. So it is with you. Your circumstances may not shift instantly, but your spiritual position has changed. You no longer see yourself as a victim of the past. You see yourself as one entrusted with the future. Therefore, continue forward. Embrace discipline as the pathway of promotion. Stand within the justice I have established. Operate beneath the covering of my presence, and step into the future as a warrior who does not look back. You were healed so that pain would no longer govern you. Today, you are commissioned to steward your destiny under my guidance. I am with you in this transition. I have not only led you out of darkness, I have positioned you in the light. And from that place, you will not merely live, you will execute. My beloved, from this moment forward, walk as one whose name has been redefined in the spiritual realm. You no longer carry the label of victim. You no longer stand in the posture of the weak who must constantly evade. You are no longer a life steered by secret counsels, formed in darkness. You walk as one covered by heaven. You walk as one who has heard a decree spoken over your name. You walk bearing the seal of a consecrated warrior impressed upon your soul. Do not call yourself by former titles. Do not allow memory to whisper that you must remain cautious and small. When I change a person's name, I alter their trajectory. Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. A new name is not merely a sound, it is direction. So it is with you. You are no longer defined by what happened to you, but by what I have declared over you. I have called you by your name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. When I call, no power can rewrite your identity. Walk without trembling, not because challenges have ceased, but because you know who goes before you. Stand without bowing to invisible threats. You do not need permission to be strong. You do not require human approval to execute what I have assigned. I have granted authority. I have shut the old doors you once tried to reopen. I have opened a new door that no one can close. See, I have set before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. What I open does not depend on earthly validation. Receive this shift, not as fleeting emotion, but as a new foundation beneath your feet. Everything that required vindication has been vindicated in my court. Everything that needed closure has been sealed by my hand. Everything that was meant to open has been unlocked. You do not need to return to prove yourself. You do not need to remain to argue. You do not need to wait for someone to confirm that you are sufficient. I have spoken, and my word is enough. You no longer move with the posture of defense, but with the bearing of one commissioned. Like David, after he was anointed, he returned to the fields. Yet inwardly, he had changed. So it is with you. Circumstances may not shift instantly, but your spiritual position has already been altered. You no longer stand beneath the shadow of old narratives. You stand beneath a new decree. Step forward as one upon whom heaven has signed its mandate. Do not look back for reassurance. Do not wait for someone to say, "Now you may." Do not demand further proof that you are worthy. Your worth does not arise from performance. It arises from calling. Those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. Romans 8:30. That chain is not broken by darkness. Walk boldly, yet without heaviness. Walk lightly, yet not carelessly. Walk steadily, yet not rigidly. Walk confidently, yet without pride. For I go before you. I do not merely open the way, I clear it. I do not simply point the path, I guard it. Your destiny is not a distant illusion. It awaits the sound of your name being called in the present moment. You are no longer one who is controlled. You are one who is sent. You are no longer waiting for a miracle. You are stepping into a promise. And when you move, as one whose identity has been redefined, the atmosphere around you will shift, not because you strive to impress, but because the authority I have given you carries its own radiance. Therefore, go. Do not look back. Do not ask permission. Do not attempt to prove yourself. I have completed my part. Now you fulfill yours. Step forward. And as you step, you will see that I truly have gone before you, and that you are entering precisely the place where destiny has borne your name from the beginning. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely a spectator. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of the Word of God. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you will not miss any sacred messages. Amen. My beloved child, let your heart grow still and receive this word. For there are seasons in a person's life that do not begin with loud sounds, but with a quiet shifting deep within the soul. You have walked through days where your eyes looked but did not truly see, where your heart felt but did not fully understand. And many times you believed that this haze would remain with you forever. But no, my child, know this: a moment is drawing near. And in truth, it has already begun to touch your life. When the coverings within you will dissolve like morning mist before the rising sun, this is not happening because you have become perfect, nor because you now understand everything, but because my hand is leading you into a deeper realm of awareness. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. When my light begins to reach the places you once kept hidden, you will no longer call darkness peace, nor will you mistake delay for stillness. I am awakening within you new eyes, so that you may see life not merely through emotion, but through discernment that comes from heaven. There were coverings that once served a purpose in an earlier season, like a heavy garment shielding a trembling soul in the cold. I allowed you to pass through those days without seeing everything fully, because had I revealed it all too soon, your heart would not have been able to bear the truth. But now, my child, what once protected you cannot go with you into the field of your destiny. There are forms of shelter meant only for spiritual infancy, and as you step into maturity, I no longer keep you in obscurity. I bring you into clear light, and there you will begin to discern what is real and what is only a shadow, who comes near you with genuine love, and who enters your life for their own gain. What is the call from heaven, and what is merely the echo of lingering fear? I do not reveal these things to make you bitter, but to make you free. As it is written, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. Truth is not a blade meant to bring you down. It is the key that opens the doors you have long stood before, yet never knew how to enter. Therefore, do not be alarmed when you begin to see clearly what you once avoided. The first touch of clarity often causes a sting within the soul, not because the light is harsh, but because your eyes have grown accustomed to the gentle dimness of not knowing. You will look back on certain relationships and realize that what you once called loyalty was, in truth, entanglement. You will revisit certain choices and understand that you tolerated what weakened your soul simply out of fear of losing something familiar. You will face fractures within yourself that you once covered with busyness, with kindness, with forced smiles, but now I extend my hand toward those very places to heal them at the root. As it is written, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. I am not merely restoring your circumstances, I am purifying the source within you, so that from your innermost being, life may flow in purity, in strength, and in true direction. My child, remember the story of the young Israelite servant girl in the house of Naaman, the powerful commander of Syria. She is not often highlighted among the great figures. Yet the light of truth moved through her life quietly and powerfully. Taken from her homeland and placed in a place that was not her own, she did not allow bitterness to cloud what she knew of God. From her small voice came a simple direction. If her master would go to the prophet in Samaria, he would be healed. At first, Naaman expected a miracle shaped by his own pride, but in the end, he received healing only when he humbled himself and obeyed the word. Washing in the Jordan as instructed. Do you see, my child, many times, what keeps you from stepping into restoration is not my unwillingness to act, but your desire for truth to appear in a way that satisfies your own expectations. Yet, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. There are veils that only fall when you are willing to let me speak in my way, guide in my way, and heal through the path that I know is right. Therefore, when I reveal to you the hidden motives behind another's words, do not use that insight to judge, use it to discern. When I uncover the true wound within your own heart, do not turn away in shame, place it into my hands. When I show you that small compromises have dimmed your soul, do not condemn yourself as one without hope. Repent and rise as one who is loved. I do not expose to humiliate you. I reveal to rescue you from what has been quietly draining your life. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Everything I bring into your sight carries within it an intention to heal. And every truth I allow you to touch is accompanied by a current of grace strong enough to lift you beyond what you have just come to understand. Perhaps many times you have wondered why you were held back for so long, why certain doors that seemed ready to open kept closing instead, why your life passed through pauses you could not comprehend. But now hear this, not every delay is a denial. There are seasons I keep you hidden because if you stepped out too soon, you would walk with eyes not yet cleansed. I would rather you move slowly and see clearly than move quickly and lose your way. I would rather have you remain still in my hands to learn how to hear than run after illusions and forfeit true peace. As it is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. What is beautiful does not always arrive quickly. It arrives rightly. And my sense of what is right reaches far deeper than your urgency ever could. Now, as I gently remove from you the coverings of former seasons, do not cling to what I am taking away. There are old ways of seeing that must die so that a new vision may be born. There are attachments that must be re-examined so that your love is no longer entangled with fear. There are false beliefs about yourself that must be broken, so you no longer live as one lacking when I have already called you an heir. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Yet true faith does not deny reality. It moves through reality with the assurance that I still hold all things. I do not draw you out from behind the veil to leave you in panic. I draw you out so you may live awake. I do not let you see so that you lose your peace. I let you see so that your peace is no longer built upon illusion. So, my child, If recently your soul feels as though an inner door has been opened, if there are things you can no longer ignore as before, if, within you, there is a deeper knowing you cannot yet name, do not be afraid. This is not confusion. This is my voice awakening you. This is the hour when the veil falls quietly, and you step into a light that is no longer diluted. From here, you will love with greater wisdom, walk with deeper awareness, and look back on your life with a fuller gratitude. For you will understand that I never left you in blindness, but patiently led you to the moment when your eyes could finally open. Receive this word as oil poured upon your spirit. I am bringing you into clarity, not to take anything precious from you, but to restore your ability to see with eyes that have been touched by heaven. And once you see as I desire you to see, you will no longer walk as one groping through mist, but as one led by light, upheld by truth, and sustained by my love to the very end of the path. My beloved child, when my light has touched the deepest places within you, and the veil that once covered you has fallen away, you will realize that you can no longer return to your old way of living. What once felt safe will now feel constricting, and what once brought you comfort may begin to suffocate you. This is not loss, nor is it a sign that you have gone astray. It is the evidence that your soul is outgrowing its former limitations. I am not drawing you out of the familiar because I wish to take something from you, but because I know that if you remain, you will slowly lose yourself. As it is written, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins. Luke 5:37. And you, my child, are carrying within you the new wine. I have placed a life that cannot be confined within forms that have already passed their season. Listen carefully to the call that is echoing within your spirit. I am inviting you to step away from doors you once knocked on with persistence, doors you waited for with longing, but which now stand as empty frames of a season that has ended. You are not being pushed out because you failed. You are being called out because you have completed what I intended you to learn there. There are lessons that can only be learned within limitations, but there are destinies that can only be lived when you dare to leave them behind. You have grown more than you realize. You have come further than you think. And now, I am no longer calling you to endure. I am calling you to step into the life I prepared for you long before you understood it. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. Say, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18-19. That new thing is not found in what is familiar, but on the other side of obedience, you will begin to see more clearly, not with the eyes of logic, but with a deeper inner discernment. You will recognize that some promises which once filled you with hope no longer carry my breath, not because they were false, but because their time has passed, or because I am leading you onto a higher path. If you continue to hold on to what has already died, you will have no space to receive what is alive. I do not want you to live from the memory of past grace. I want you to walk in the flow of present grace. As it is written, no one who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. Luke 9:62. This is not because I am severe, but because I know that a heart pulled backward cannot walk steadily into the future. There are relationships you have guarded with deep loyalty, and that was not wrong. But my child, understand this with maturity. Not everyone who walks with you in one season is meant to walk with you to the end. I am not teaching you to become cold, nor am I calling you to withdraw love. I am teaching you to discern seasons. Some people were once a source of strength, but if you cling to them when the season has shifted, they will become a limitation to your progress. It is not that they are wrong, nor that you are wrong. The current has simply changed direction. There is a time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Wisdom is not found in holding on to everything, but in knowing when to release with peace. Remember Abraham. when I called him to leave his homeland and his father's house, to go to a place he did not know. I did not give him a map, nor did I offer detailed explanations. I gave him a word, and he went. That step of obedience opened a covenant that still echoes to this day. If Abraham had chosen to remain in familiarity, in safety, in old attachments, he would never have stepped into what I had prepared for him. Do you see? My child, often what holds you back is not something evil, but something familiar. Yet by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go, Hebrews 11:8. And that obedience became the doorway into a future far beyond human imagination. My beloved child, do not call this departure a loss. Do not see it as a painful exchange. See it instead as a sacred transition, a moment where you are being released from what no longer fits, so that you may be clothed with what belongs to your new season. I am not taking from you to leave you empty. I am removing so that you may be filled more fully. I do not close doors to leave you wandering. I close them so you will not return to places where life no longer dwells. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Even as you walk through the valley of change, I am there guiding you, holding you, and preparing the path ahead. Therefore, my child, step out with courage when I call you. Do not wait until everything is clear before you move. For if you saw everything, you would have no need for faith. Step because you know I am leading you. Let go because you trust that I am holding you. And as you cross the boundary of the old season, you will discover that I am not merely calling you out of what has been, I am leading you into what you were born to live. Not a repetition of the past, not a refined version of what once was, but an entirely new reality where you no longer strive to fit in, but live fully in the identity I placed within you from the beginning. My beloved, listen deeply within your spirit, for what I am about to say does not thunder like a storm, yet it carries the power to redirect your entire journey. There are doors that do not open because I place something new into your hands, but because you find the courage to release what no longer belongs to you. You once thought that gaining more was the mark of growth, but I tell you this, true maturity is often revealed in your ability to let go. Letting go is not failure, nor is it weakness. It is the quiet confirmation that your soul has outgrown its former frame. As it is written, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Hebrews 12:1. For as long as you hold on to what no longer aligns, you cannot run freely in the race I have set before you. Perhaps you have grown accustomed to holding on to connections, old hopes, and identities shaped through pain and effort. But my child, there are things that were right for one season that now stand as barriers to the next. If you continue to cling to them, you will have no room to receive what I am preparing to pour into you. So when I touch your hand and gently say, release it, understand that I am not taking something precious away. I am making space for something more alive. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Each time you let go, you are not losing, you are entrusting. You are not dropping what matters, you are placing it into my hands, where it is kept far better than you could ever keep it. Understand this also, there is a language of the Spirit that not every ear can hear. My call is not always loud, often it comes like a gentle breeze across your mind, like an unexplainable stirring, like a loss of peace when you try to remain where I have already departed. As with the prophet Elijah on the mountain, I was not found in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12. And it was in that quiet moment that direction was revealed. You, my child, are standing in such a moment now where not everything is fully clear. Yet enough has been shown for you to know that you cannot return to what once was. I want to tell you about Bartimaeus, the blind man who sat by the roadside. When he heard that I was passing by, he cried out with all the faith he had left in his life. And when I called him to come, the first thing he did was not to walk, it was to throw off his cloak, the very thing that identified him as a beggar. That cloak had once protected him, sustained him, and helped him survive. Yet it had also become the symbol of the limitation he had lived under for so many years. If he had held on to it, he would have remained who he was, even though healing stood right before him. But when he cast it aside, he did not merely discard an object, he released an old identity. Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. Mark 10:50. Do you see? My child, the miracle does not begin when I touch you, it begins the moment you let go of what once defined you. My child, the new chapter is not a place that is easier, but a place that is truer. It is not designed for your comfort, but for your transformation into who I have always intended you to be. And so, when you step into it, you will feel both unfamiliar and deeply familiar. Unfamiliar because you have never lived there before, yet familiar because your soul recognizes it and whispers, "This is where I belong." As it is written, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works." Ephesians 2:10. You are not stepping into something random. You are stepping into a design that has already been written, now unfolding in my perfect timing. Engrave this truth upon your heart when your soul is truly awakened. No chain is strong enough to hold you back. The fears that once made you hesitate will begin to lose their power, not because they vanish entirely, but because my call grows louder within you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. As you hear me more clearly, you will no longer walk according to painful memories, nor be driven by past experiences that once confined you. You will walk by revelation, what I am speaking now, what I am opening before you in this very moment. And when I call you, do not think that you are walking alone. You may not see it, but there is a spiritual backing standing behind every step you take, not to make you proud, but to make you steady, not to draw attention to yourself, but to keep you from retreating. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. When you follow my voice, you are not moving by your own strength. You are moving with the support of heaven. Therefore, my child, if within you there is a stirring to release, to leave, to change, do not delay any longer. This is not impulsiveness. It is the signal of a soul being called into a new season. Let go with trust. Step forward with obedience, and you will discover that what I am opening before you is not merely another chapter, but the very one you were born to live, the place where you no longer strive to become, but simply are who you were created to be in my light, grounded, clear, and filled with a life that does not run dry. My beloved child, there are beginnings that are not announced with visible signs, but are written deep within the rhythm of your heart. When you begin to feel that you can no longer remain in what once sheltered you, that is not weakness, it is awakening. When the atmosphere around you seems to shift without explanation, when what once brought peace now stirs unrest within you, when an unseen yet weighty call begins to echo in your spirit, then you are standing within the current of transition that I have appointed. As it is written, the wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. John 3:8. So it is with spiritual movement, it is not always clear to the mind, yet your soul knows it with certainty. I do not force you forward, I stir you from within. I do not push you out of the old, I call your name so that you rise. And my child, you are hearing more clearly than you think. Do not be afraid of that restlessness. It is not a sign that you are losing your way, but proof that you no longer belong to the old place. There were environments that once nourished you, but now they have become too small for what I am opening before you. If you remain, you will not lose yourself all at once, but you will slowly shrink. I did not create you to live constricted. I created you to step into fullness. I have come that they may have life, and have it abundantly. John 10:10. So when your heart is no longer at peace with what once felt right, it is not instability, it is elevation. You are being lifted into a deeper awareness, where peace is no longer tied to familiarity, but to my presence. And when the veil falls, the first thing you begin to see is not only the world around you, but yourself. You start to view your life through a different light, no longer through the lens of wounds, of words that once made you question your worth, or of seasons where you were merely trying to survive. You are no longer the one who must build defenses to protect yourself, nor the one who hides in obscurity to avoid truth. I am removing the layers you once used to endure, revealing the true self I placed within you from the beginning. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are not simply changing circumstances, you are being redefined from within. I want you to remember Gideon, who once hid in fear and saw himself as the least in his family. Yet, when I called him, I did not speak to his condition. I spoke to his identity. The Lord is with you. Mighty warrior, Judges 6:12. At first, he did not understand and even doubted. But as my light unfolded within him, he began to see that he was no longer the one who hid. Do you see? My child, true transformation does not begin when your circumstances become easier. It begins when you see yourself the way I see you. When the veil falls, you are no longer defined by your past, but by what I have spoken over you. So, my child, when you begin to feel something drawing you forward, even when you cannot yet name where it leads, do not resist. When you sense that you no longer fit into old patterns, do not force yourself back into them. When you realize that former promises no longer carry the breath of life, do not cling to them simply because they once gave you hope. I am not calling you out to leave you lost. I am calling you out to bring you home. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way. Walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. Even if the path is not yet fully visible, my voice is guiding you step by step. Perhaps you once believed that you were too late, that the years behind you were delays that could never be restored. But I tell you this, you are not late. You are exactly within the time I appointed for you. Every step you have taken, every season you have passed through, even those you did not understand, has been preparing you for this very moment. The moment where you see clearly, understand deeply, and are ready to move forward. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Nothing is wasted in my hands. Nothing you have lived through is without meaning. So, my child, let your heart rest in this truth. You are no longer standing at the edge of your destiny. You are within its flow. When the veil has fallen, you cannot pretend not to see. When the light has come, you cannot return to darkness as before. And this is not something to fear, it is something to rejoice in. For from this point on, you no longer walk as one groping in uncertainty, but as one being led. You no longer live based on what has been, but on what I am doing now. Rise, my beloved, not by your own strength, but with the awareness that I am with you. Step forward, not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who leads you. and you will discover that the new chapter does not arrive as a sudden explosion, but as a door that has always been there waiting for you to become clear enough to see it, courageous enough to step through it, and trusting enough to remain. My beloved child, open your heart to this word, for what you have gone through is not a scattered sequence of events, nor a collection of meaningless coincidences. Every step you have taken, every time you have fallen and risen again, every moment you believed you were lost, all of it is being woven in my hands into a greater design that you are only now beginning to understand. I did not lead you through darkness to exhaust you, but to teach your eyes how to see in the night. I did not allow delay to discourage you, but to protect you from doors that were not yet right. As it is written, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:28. This means even the fragments you once wished to forget are becoming the very foundation for what I am about to build in your life. And there will come a moment, a sacred intersection where heaven meets earth within your life, when you will look back on your journey and no longer see chaos, but design. You will realize that the times you thought you were going the wrong way were actually leading you to the right place. The doors that closed were not rejecting you, but redirecting you. The silent seasons were not abandonment, but preparation. I will make the crooked places straight, Isaiah 42:16. And what once seemed twisted will begin to reveal its meaning as the light shines upon it. But my child, before you step fully into that new chapter, there is a place I cannot overlook, a deep region within your heart that you have avoided, concealed, and called fine. Though it has never truly been healed, I will not lead you further while leaving that part in the shadows. For if you carry it with you, it will quietly exhaust you along the journey. I do not require you to appear strong before me. I do not need you to pretend that nothing has affected you. I see everything, the memories you tried to bury, the wounds you covered with calmness, the fears that cause you to stop just before trying again. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. I do not merely observe your wounds, I touch them to restore you. Remember the woman who suffered from bleeding for 12 years. She had spent all she had in search of healing, yet no one could help her. She lived in silence, in shame, and in the feeling of being separated from others. But when she heard of me, she did not come in perfection. She came with what remained a fragile yet genuine faith. She reached out and touched the edge of my garment, and immediately the flow of blood ceased. Yet I did not stop at the miracle. I turned and called her forth not to shame her, but to restore her identity completely. Daughter, your faith has made you well, Mark 5:34. Do you see? My child, healing is not only the stopping of the wound, it is the restoration of the soul in the light. In the same way, I am leading you into the place you once feared most, not to deepen your pain, but to bring you into true freedom. I do not want you to enter the new chapter through strain, through sheer effort, or behind a hardened exterior. I want you to walk as one who has been released, no longer pulled back by old voices, no longer bound by wounds left untouched. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. That freedom does not come from forgetting your past, but from allowing me to enter it. My beloved child, hear this gently yet clearly. You are no longer a wounded person struggling to survive. You are one who has been summoned, called out of darkness, placed into light, and entrusted with a new journey. What you have been through no longer defines you. It testifies to my faithfulness. And now, when you look back, you will not see yourself as one who merely endured, but as one who has been prepared. Therefore, do not avoid that inner place any longer. Do not turn away when I lead you to what you once tried to bury. Open your heart not in fear, but in trust, Let your tears fall if they must. Let the memories surface if they must. But do not allow them to hold authority over you any longer. Place them into my hands. I do not break you further. I make you whole. And then, my child, you will see this. When I heal, you do not simply become lighter, you become clearer. When I touch your past, you are not only set free, you are realigned. And when you move forward from that place, you will no longer walk like someone merely trying to get through, but like one who has been freed to advance. So walk on, my beloved, not with the weight of what has been, but with the lightness of a soul that has been touched by heaven. For the new chapter I am opening is not meant for someone struggling just to survive, but for a soul that has been healed to live fully in my light. My beloved child, there were stretches of your journey when you moved, like someone running through the night. Your feet were still moving, yet your heart did not know where it was truly headed. I do not rebuke you for that, for I understand. You ran to preserve your life, to avoid wounds that had never been named, to keep from stopping and facing what had broken you within. But now, as my light begins to spread through your soul, I no longer want you to live like one who is fleeing. I want you to walk like one who is being led. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. When that light is placed within your heart, you no longer need to run in order to escape. You begin to walk in order to arrive. Understand this deeply. My child, the difference between one who runs away and one who is led is not found in speed, but in the source of light. The one who runs is driven by the fear behind them. The one who is led is drawn by the life ahead. And I am changing that direction within you. As I heal the places where you were once wounded, you begin to look back at your fractures no longer with shame, but with understanding. You begin to see why you broke, why you chose those paths, why you remained in places where life no longer dwelled. And when you see clearly, you are no longer bound by it. You have freed my soul from its chains. Psalm 116, 16. Freedom does not come from forgetting, it comes from being illuminated. I want you to remember Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers and cast into the darkness of betrayal and misunderstanding. If he had chosen to see only through the lens of memory, he would have lived his entire life as a wounded man. But when my light touched his understanding, he was able to say, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50:20. In that moment, memory was no longer a chain. It became a witness to my faithfulness. Do you see, my child, when you see through my light, you no longer carry your past as a burden. You carry it as evidence that I have been with you. So, my beloved, I am leading you through the deeper layers within, not to dig you into pain, but to free you from the fear of yourself. I do not want you to walk forward constantly, wondering if you will repeat what once held you back. I want you to move with the certainty that you have been transformed at the root. When what is within you is aligned, your steps will naturally follow the right path. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. You do not need to control the future. You need to trust the one who is leading you. And I know there have been moments when you asked quietly within yourself, "Is He truly calling me?" I have heard that question. And today I answer you clearly. My call has never been silent. It has never left you. It has only been covered by other voices, the whisper of self-doubt telling you that you are not enough, the echo of words that once wounded you, the fear of rejection that held you back before you could try again. But now, as the veil is lifted, those voices begin to lose their power, and my voice becomes clearer. My call does not come as a forceful command, nor does it carry a weight that suffocates you. It comes like a gentle wind, like a deep breath that you do not have to strain to hold. As when Samuel was a child, he heard the voice in the night but did not recognize it until he learned to respond. Speak, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:10. So it is with you. You do not need to understand everything in order to respond. You only need to listen with an open heart. You do not hear with your ears, for your ears can be distorted by the noise of the world. You do not discern by your intellect, for your mind is limited by what you have lived through. You hear with your spirit where, when I touch you, you simply know, even when you cannot explain. And what you will come to realize is this: my call does not push you, it invites you. It does not force, it draws. It does not create pressure, it brings peace. The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. That peace is the sign that you are listening to the right voice. So, my child, do not be afraid if you feel your way of walking is changing. Do not be troubled if you no longer respond as you once did. You are not losing yourself, you are becoming who you truly are. As I have always seen you, you are no longer one who runs from memory. You are one who carries destiny. You are no longer pulled by what is behind you. You are being called by what lies ahead. Walk on, my beloved. There is no need to rush, but do not stop. You do not need to understand everything, but you must trust. And as you move forward, you will come to see that I am not calling you from a distance. I am walking with you, step by step, within the light I have placed inside your heart. My beloved child, let your heart be still and receive this. You once believed that what slipped from your hands was evidence of loss, as though each piece that fell away took a part of you with it. But I do not see it that way. In my sight, what leaves you is not an ending. It is a quiet intersection between what has been completed and what is now being revealed. There are things I allow to fall away, not because you are unworthy to keep them, but because they no longer align with the height you are about to enter. If you hold on to them, they will become a weight that pulls you down. As it is written, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. The new cannot grow in a hand that is still tightly holding the old. I know you have wept when what you loved slipped away. I have seen the nights when you could not understand why what you held with all your heart could not remain. I have witnessed your confusion when the things you trusted seemed to dissolve like mist before the sun. But my child, I do not take away to leave you empty. I redirect you to bring you into the right current. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Job 1:21. Not because he is inconsistent, but because he always acts in the fullness of purpose. What leaves you carries meaning, not meaningless loss. And that very space becomes the ground upon which I build something stronger, brighter, and higher. You are not diminished by what you have lost. You are being reshaped, like a potter turning the clay in his hands, not to destroy it, but to form it rightly. O house of Israel, can I not do with you as this potter? Jeremiah 18:6. You thought you were breaking apart, but in truth, you were being remade. The cracks are not signs of an ending. They are the places where light begins to enter. And when that light touches you, you no longer see life through old definitions. My light does not only touch your wounds to heal, it touches your perception to renew. You once thought my silence meant distance, even abandonment. But when the light shines, you begin to see that it was protection keeping you from what you were not yet ready to carry. As it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. That stillness is not absence, It is a space I hold you in, shielding you from the noise that would lead you astray. You once thought delay was failure, but now you see it as hidden preparation, where foundations are laid before doors are opened. You once believed closed doors were rejection, but now you understand that I was preventing you from entering places that were never meant for you. Remember Elijah, when he hid in the cave, believing he had been left alone in a world full of opposition. He expected to encounter me in something great and overwhelming, but I was not in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. I came in a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19:12. And in that stillness, he realized that I had never left him. So it is with you. My beloved, there are seasons when I do not speak loudly or act visibly, yet I am there, closer than you think, deeper than you feel. Light is not always blinding, often it is gentle, yet sufficient to guide your way. I have been with you in every day of your disappointment, when you had no one to speak to. I was there in the moments when you felt lost, unsure of where you were going. I was there when you thought you had to carry everything on your own. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Matthew 28:20. This is not a distant promise, but a reality that has covered every step you have taken. Not a single moment were you truly alone. You simply did not see me in those times. So when my light shines upon you, it does not come to condemn you for what has passed. It does not come to remind you of your failures or to shame you for past choices. My light comes to restore you to your rightful place, the place of one who is loved, supported, and led. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. You do not step into the new chapter under the weight of condemnation. You step into it with the freedom of one who has been accepted. My beloved child, look back on your journey with new eyes. What you once called loss becomes a sign of transition. What you once called silence becomes evidence of protection. What you once called delay becomes the foundation of preparation. And when you see in this way, you will realize that I have never left you, never abandoned you, never allowed you to wander beyond my hand. Continue forward, my child, not as one who has lost something, but as one who has been released from what no longer belongs. Let your hands remain open, so that I may place into them what aligns with who you are becoming. And as you walk in this light, you will no longer view life through the fear of losing, but through the trust that everything I do is leading you to where you truly belong, a place where you no longer strive to hold on, but rest within my perfect guidance. My beloved, pause for a moment and look at yourself through the light I am placing within your heart. For the most important thing I am healing is not your outward circumstances, but your self-perception. When the veil falls, you do not only see the world more clearly, you begin to see your true self. And I want you to know this with certainty. You are no longer who you once believed yourself to be. The words you spoke over yourself in moments of weakness, that you were broken, fragile, always behind, left out, are not truth. They are echoes from seasons that had not yet been illuminated. But now the light has come, and that light does not agree with those old definitions. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, 1 Peter 2:9. I call you by the name that heaven has given you, not by what you have been through. You carry within you something not everyone can understand. There is a sensitivity in your spirit, a capacity to perceive, discern, and recognize that you once thought was a burden. But it is, in truth, a mark I have placed upon you. There have been moments when you felt different, as though you did not fully belong within the patterns around you. And that difference caused you to question yourself. But my child, that difference is not a flaw, it is a seal. I did not create you to blend in. I created you to bring light where light is needed. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. Light does not strive to prove that it shines. It simply exists and radiates. So it is with you. You do not need to prove your worth. You only need to stand where I have placed you. Remember David, when he was still a young shepherd, overlooked within his own family. When the prophet Samuel came to anoint a king, his father did not even think to call him. For in human eyes, he was not a worthy choice. But I do not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And it was the one who was overlooked who was chosen. Do you see? My child, you do not need recognition from others to become what I have already established. You have been called, positioned, and marked long before you understood it. Therefore, my beloved, I am restoring your identity not by adding temporary encouragements, but by removing the false labels you have carried. When you see yourself rightly, you will walk differently. When you know who you are, you will no longer tremble before what lies ahead. You will not enter the new chapter as one searching for value, but as one who knows you already carry it. I have called you by name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. This call is not vague, it is personal, clear, and irreplaceable. Now, my child, as I lead you to the threshold of what is new, I do not want your heart to be filled with anxiety about what lies ahead. I want you to feel it with a holy expectancy, a quiet anticipation that does not come from control, but from trust. You are not stepping in alone. I am not waiting at the destination for you. I walk with you in every step. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Psalm 32:8. You do not need to guess what to do. You only need to listen and follow. You also do not need to question whether you are enough, for the answer is not found in you, but in me. If you look at yourself, you will always see limitations. But if you look at me, you will see a source that never runs dry. My grace is sufficient for you. 2 Corinthians 12:9. This new chapter does not demand your perfection. It invites your dependence. It does not require you to prove your worth. It asks you to be present in the place I have set for you, with an open heart. Remember this, my child, every true beginning does not start with outward noise, but with a deep inner peace. When you know you are being led, you no longer need to control. When you know you are loved, you no longer need to prove. When you know you are called, you no longer need to compare. The peace of God will guard your heart and your mind. Philippians 4-7. That peace becomes the foundation of your steps in this new chapter. So, my beloved, stand in this light with a willing spirit. Do not carry the fears of yesterday into the doorway of tomorrow. Do not bring questions of worth into the place where I have already named you clearly. Come to me as you are, not perfect, not hidden, but honest. And in that honesty, say to me with your whole heart, here I am. I am ready. And when you say this, you will find that the new chapter is no longer unfamiliar. It becomes the place where you belong, the place where you walk, not with strained effort, but with my gentle leading, where every step you take is upheld, and every beat of your heart begins to align with heaven's rhythm. My beloved child, rise in the light I have ignited within you, for this is no longer the time to bow beneath the shadows of old memories. I have touched the deepest places within you, healed the fractures you once concealed, and lifted the veil so you no longer see dimly. And now I call you to stand, not to chase others, not to compare or prove, but to walk as one awakened into divine purpose. Awake, O sleeper, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. That light does not merely illuminate your path, it affirms that you are living within what I have ordained. My child, you no longer walk based on what has happened to you. You are no longer pulled backward by memory, by moments of breaking, by disappointment, or by words that once caused you to doubt yourself. I am placing within you a new vision, not imagination, not illusion, but a clarity that comes from the Spirit. As you follow this vision, you will no longer act out of fear of lack or uncertainty about whether you are enough, but out of the awareness that the source already dwells within you. My God will supply all your needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. You do not go out to search, you go out because you already carry what you need. Understand this clearly. My beloved, you are no longer required to compromise in order to be accepted. You do not need to dim your light to fit into spaces that no longer align with who you are becoming. I did not create you to dissolve into your surroundings. I created you to reflect my light. You are the light of the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Matthew 5:14-15. When you stand firm in what I have placed within you, you do not become distant, you become clear. And that clarity is what the world is lacking. Now you are no longer one who is wandering in search of a path. You are one who knows you have been called. I have placed within you a deeper awakening, a recognition you cannot return from. And that awakening itself becomes a summons. It does not force you, yet it does not leave you at peace when you try to return to what is behind. It draws you toward the light where you belong. Walk in the light, as he is in the light. 1 John 1:7. You are no longer in darkness. You are walking on a path that is being illuminated step by step. I also see what you have long carried within, dreams you once held in silence, desires you were afraid to touch. I know the fears that restrained you: fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of reliving old wounds. But my child, I have not brought you to this place without equipping you. I am placing within your heart a spiritual courage, a steadiness not dependent on emotional fluctuations. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. Joshua 1:9. This courage does not come from feeling strong. It comes from knowing that I am with you. Look at David when he stepped forward to face Goliath. He did not wear another man's armor, nor did he rely on size or human experience. He stepped forward with the awareness that he was not alone, and that awareness made all the difference. So it is with you. You do not need to become someone else in order to enter what I have called you into. You only need to walk in what I have already placed within you. The courage I place within you is not meant for you to prove your worth, but to receive what has belonged to you from the beginning. It does not make you rigid in a closed-off way, but steadfast in a way that is unshakable. It does not strip away your gentleness. It keeps you from being easily moved. When you walk in this courage, you do not passively wait for what is new. You move forward to receive it with readiness. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. That faith itself becomes the steps of courage. So, my beloved child, step forward, not in haste, but in certainty, not under pressure, but under guidance. Do not turn back to question whether you should go, for if I have called you, then you are already prepared. Do not wait for another sign, for the awareness already stirring within you is the clearest sign you will receive. Rise as one who has been awakened. Walk as one who has been sent. And as you move forward, you will discover that what you once feared becomes the very place of your victory, and what you once avoided becomes the place where you shine. For you no longer walk in fear, but in authority, not in doubt, but in confirmation. I am here, my beloved, and I am walking with you not only at the destination, but in every step you place upon the path of light. My beloved child, now that the veil has been lifted from your eyes, you will not only recognize what once caused you to stumble, you will also begin to see doors you once walked past without noticing. Light does not only expose darkness, Light reveals the path, and I want you to understand this deeply. There are doors you once believed were closed forever, but in truth, they were simply waiting for the right moment to open. Not because I changed my will, but because you are changing your position. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. That door does not open because you are perfect, but because you are now ready to step through it without being bound by what is behind you. Now that your eyes are being enlightened, you begin to recognize opportunities you once did not dare to believe were meant for you. The door of restoration is opening not to take you back into the past, but to restore you into your true identity. The door of new connections is also before you, not relationships that drain you, but encounters that bring life. The door of creativity, those ideas you once buried out of fear of judgment, is being awakened again. And the door of dreams I placed within you from the beginning, dreams that once seemed dormant, are now being called back to life. I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. You do not need to force yourself to believe. You only need to open your heart and follow the flow I am leading. When your eyes are clear, your hands no longer tremble as before. When your hands are strengthened, your steps are no longer hesitant. And when your steps become steady, you will realize that no force has the power to keep you behind anymore. Not because you have become strong in the way the world defines strength, but because you are walking in authority that comes from me. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Your stability does not come from favorable circumstances, but from my presence going with you. Perhaps you once feared starting again, not because you did not want to, but because you did not know where to begin. But my child, I am not calling you to walk alone in confusion. I have placed within you the fresh guidance of the Holy Spirit, a living current that, if you listen, you will recognize clearly. There will be moments when I tell you to pause, and you will find peace in that stillness. There will be moments when I prompt you to move, and you will feel an undeniable inward leading. You will find yourself guided to the right people, the right places, the right timing. What once seemed random will begin to form a pattern that only from a higher view reveals perfect precision. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, Psalm 37:23. You are not walking in chaos, you are walking in divine order. My beloved child, remember the story of Philip, when the Spirit led him away from the crowded place onto a deserted road, where he encountered an Ethiopian man searching for truth. That meeting was not coincidence, it was divine arrangement. And in that seemingly empty place, a soul was opened, and a seed was planted into a nation. Do you see? My child, my ways are not always logical to your mind, but they are always precise, according to my purpose. When you walk with me, what you call coincidence will become confirmation that you are on the right path. Therefore, my beloved, do not fear that you will lose your way. I go before you. Do not fear being deceived. I surround you. Do not think you are late. I keep your timing aligned. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Psalm 32:8. You do not need to guess. You only need to listen. You do not need to strive. You only need to trust. What I am doing within you is not limited to showing you. I am leading you from awareness into participation, and from participation into inheritance. You will no longer stand outside looking at my promises as a distant observer. You will step into them as one who belongs. But for this to happen, you must respond. The door may be open, but you must walk through it. The path may be illuminated, but you must move forward. So walk, my beloved, not with perfection, but with readiness, not with full understanding, but with trust in the one who leads you. And as you walk, you will realize that everything I have prepared is not a distant dream, but a present reality waiting for you to step into. For I am not only showing you the door, I am holding your hand, leading you through it, and placing you where you were always meant to belong. My beloved child, let this word be engraved upon your spirit like a living seal when the veil has fallen. What you see is not your weakness, but the true position I have established for you from the beginning. You are no longer standing in the place of a victim, no longer controlled by circumstances, people, or past seasons that once misaligned your path. You have been moved out of that realm. Now you stand at the intersection between what was and what is to come, not to be torn apart, but to become a passageway. Stand firm after you have done everything. Ephesians 6:13. You stand not because you have never faced storms, but because you have walked through them and are still standing. I did not create you to drag yourself through life, but to build what others will one day walk into. You are not called to merely survive, but to create, to shape, to establish. You are no longer defined by the darkness you once endured, but by the light you now carry. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. That light does not exist only to shine, it exists to guide. And when you begin to understand this, you begin to live differently, no longer trembling before the waves, but standing firm as one who knows that even if storms are real, the authority within you is also real. He calms the storm so that its waves are still. Psalm 107:29. You do not need to deny the storm. You only need to remember the one who stands with you. Take a deep breath with this truth as the breath of your soul. You are not stepping into this new chapter by accident. You were born for this time, the years that felt long, the battles that felt endless, the moments you thought you had no strength left. All of it was not to exhaust you, but to prepare you. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. Nothing you have walked through has been wasted. Your past wounds taught you how to touch the pain of others. Your trials refined you from what is impure. Your dark seasons trained your eyes to recognize even the smallest glimmer of light. Remember Esther, who was placed in the position of queen not merely to live a safe life, but to rise at a defining moment. She walked through fear and hesitation, only to realize, perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. So it is with you. My child, you are not merely surviving seasons. You have been preserved for a decisive moment. If you had not walked through what you endured, you would not stand here now with the clarity you carry today. Now, I place upon you an unshakable knowing. You have entered the new chapter. Not you will enter. Not you are waiting to enter, but you have already stepped in. This is not dependent on your emotions, nor is it reversible by circumstances. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3-7. No darkness can cover what I have already illuminated. No old season can pull you back into what you have already left behind. Therefore, you no longer walk in hesitation. You walk in understanding that heaven is accompanying you. You no longer ask for each step as though you are lacking. You begin to speak from a place of steadiness, declaring what is ahead with a grounded heart, not because you are strong in yourself, but because you know who stands beside you. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. Your certainty does not come from within you, it comes from my unchanging presence. I am sealing you not with a vague promise, but with a new peace placed within your heart. A peace that is not dependent on circumstances, not shaken by change, but stands firm like solid ground. I am opening your eyes to a new way of seeing so you no longer interpret life through fear, but through discernment, I am placing within you a new strength not to control everything, but so that nothing can control you. My beloved child, move forward, not with the uncertain steps of one looking back, but with the firm steps of one who knows the direction is true. Walk as one who has been named, positioned, and given authority. And as you walk, you will realize you are never alone. Heaven itself is accompanying you, step by step, leading you into the place your destiny has been waiting for since the beginning. Hold this seal in your heart. You have entered the new chapter. From this point on, every step is no longer experimentation, but fulfillment. No longer searching, but living. No longer waiting, but entering. And I am with you now and forever. My beloved child, stand your soul upright as one who has just heard the trumpet sound from the heights above. For the words I have spoken over you are not passing echoes, but an irreversible declaration. You are no longer in that blurred place where perception is distorted, where vision is veiled, and where worth is questioned. I have touched you, opened your eyes, called your name, and awakened you from a long sleep. And I seal this awakening not with fragile promises, but with the authority of heaven. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Once my light has entered you, no force can lead you back into companionship with darkness as before. No lie retains authority to diminish you. No old memory has the power to define you. No painful experience can rewrite the story I am writing over your life. You have heard my voice, and when a soul has truly heard the sound of heaven, it cannot return to its former state. Like Saul on the road to Damascus, when the light struck and the voice called, he was no longer the same man. Though the journey ahead still required growth, that moment had already transformed the direction of his entire life. So it is with you. This intersection is not merely an emotion, it is a shift of identity. I see your spiritual wings once folded through seasons of disappointment, once weighed down by fear, once restrained by circumstances that seemed unbreakable. But now, my own hands are unfolding them. I untangle what was knotted. I touch what was wounded, and I bring life back to what seemed lost. I did not call you merely to walk, I called you to fly. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. This flight is not escape, it is liberation. Not separation from life, but elevation into a higher vision, my vision. You are no longer held on the low ground of what once was. You are being lifted into the height of your destiny. And as your wings open, you will realize that the new chapter is no longer a distant promise. It is a clear direction before you. You no longer need to guess where to go. You begin to see. You no longer need to force belief. You begin to recognize. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Psalm 32:8. As you move in, my guidance, every step ceases to be trial and becomes the unfolding of what has already been established. My beloved child, let this be engraved deeply within you once the veil has fallen. You cannot live as you once did. You cannot pretend not to see what I have revealed. You cannot return to places I have already called you out from. You cannot lower yourself again to the level where old pain once forced you to dwell. For truth has been sown within you, and that truth no longer permits you to live in illusion. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. That freedom does not only release you from what was, it propels you into what is to come. You are no longer one who waits for miracles from the outside. You are one who lives within the miracle I have placed within you. My presence in you is what the world calls a miracle. When you walk, you carry life. When you speak, you carry light. When you act, you carry authority. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you. 1 Corinthians 3:16. This means you are no longer searching for miracles at a distance. You are called to become the place where miracles are revealed. Therefore, my child, allow this transformation to unfold completely. Do not only see step, do not only recognize, respond. The veil falling was never meant to give you information. It was meant to give you a new life. I did not awaken you so that you would continue living halfway. I awakened you so that you would live fully. Stand, not in strain, but in assurance. Fly, not to escape, but to enter the place where you truly belong. I am with you. I go before you, and I dwell within you. Therefore, walk as one who has been awakened, called, and entrusted with authority, and from this moment forward, every step you take is no longer searching, but the unveiling of the light I placed within you from the very beginning. My beloved child, stand firm now in the light I have placed within you. For I am not only calling you out of an old season, I am giving you authority to bring it to completion. Not through emotion, not through impulse, but through divine certainty. You are given permission to say, enough, to what has already been fulfilled. Not because you deny your past, but because you understand it no longer has authority over your future. I have set before you life and death, therefore choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. That choice is now in your hands, not as a burden, but as a sacred trust. I give you authority to close the doors you once stood waiting before. Some doors were once pathways, but now they are dead ends if you return. You do not need permission to walk away from what no longer belongs to you. When you close in peace, you do not lose, you liberate yourself. There is a time for everything, a time to tear and a time to mend. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Hey, this is your time to release, so you are no longer bound. My child, I also place within you the authority to say no to the emotional entanglements that once controlled you, the fears that caused you to withdraw, the memories that made you react instead of choose. You are no longer one who is driven by old reflexes. You are one who chooses according to truth. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, 2 Timothy 1-7. Therefore, when you say no to what is unhealthy, you are saying yes to life itself. Remember Jacob when he wrestled in the darkness of the night. He did not walk away as the same man. He emerged with a new name and a new identity. That moment did not erase his past, but it placed it under a new designation. So it is with you. I am removing your name from unseen covenants of pain, lack, and distorted definitions. You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. Isaiah 62:2. That new name is not merely a title, it is a way of living. You now have the authority to choose what is better without guilt. Wholeness is not selfishness, it is obedience. When you step into what I have prepared for you, you are not taking from others, you are entering your portion. Each one should test their own actions, Galatians 6:4. You do not need comparison, and you do not need validation. You need faithfulness to what I have entrusted to you. I give you the right to stand on new ground as one who has been given inheritance, not in pride, but in stability, not in taking what is not yours, but in receiving what is. Every place where you set your foot I have given you, Joshua 1-3. When you walk with this awareness, you no longer wander, you step as one who knows they belong. And my child, you also have permission to begin again without shame. Shame speaks from old voices, grace speaks from me. When I make things new, I do not revisit the past to condemn you, but to restore you. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. Therefore, you do not begin with your head bowed. You begin again with peace and lifted eyes. My child, I also place within you the authority to love yourself again, not through self-indulgence, but through the light of truth. You no longer see yourself through the lens of wounds. You see yourself through what I have spoken over you. And from that place, you are able to speak to the future without fear. I am ready, not because you have controlled everything, but because you trust the one who is leading you. My beloved, you are not stepping into the new chapter with fragile hope. You are stepping with authority that has been sealed by heaven and imprinted within your heart. I have set before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3-7. Hold this as the foundation of every step you take. Therefore, walk. Close what must be closed. Open what I am opening. Say no to what pulls you backward. Say yes to what I place before you. And as you walk in this authority, you will not merely see your circumstances change. You will live as one who has been named, entrusted, and led by me. And now, my child, carry this truth quietly in your spirit. You are not a spectator in this journey. You are the one chosen to live in the reality of my word each day. Let your heart remain attentive. Let your spirit remain awake. And do not turn away from what I am speaking over you. Walk with me. Stay with me. And you will see that what I have begun in you will not fade. It will unfold into fullness, step by step, in my light.